Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Let's begin with the matter that went into the Supreme Court today and has been held back for about 24 hours. That is the Gyanvapi Scientific Survey. A 30-member team from the Archaeological Survey of India reached the Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi to conduct scientific survey with an aim to ascertain whether the mosque had been built over a pre-existing Hindu temple by Aurangzeb. However, the Supreme Court halted the scientific survey for 48 hours, that is 2 days. The survey began somewhere around 7:30 a.m. this morning and it was halted around 11:30 a.m. So for 4 hours, the survey team was in action. The survey now will resume only post 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 26th of July. The Supreme Court said that no excavation or invasive work would be undertaken by the ASI officials on the mosque premises until the 31st of July 2023, as indicated by the ASI itself. The Masjid side has been asked to move the Allahabad High Court in the interim by 5 p.m. on the 26th of July, and the Supreme Court also advising the Allahabad High Court to hear the plea if moved by the Masjid side before the stay order expires. But as there is no excavation or invasive work to be undertaken, as far as the ASI is concerned, why block a scientific survey which is only GPR, videography, and of course estimations and measurements? We'll debate that in a face-off between Vishnu Jain and Varis Pathan of the AIMIM. But first, let's bring you up to speed on what transpired in court and what exactly is the survey scope. First up, going by this entire face-off that ensued in the top court, the Hindu side said not a brick of the structure will be removed. The Masjid sides immediately said, oh my God, excavation will cause irreversible damage. The Hindu side said measurement, radio imagery, mapping is to be done. The Masjid side said order is in violation of the earlier Supreme Court order. Hindu side said no excavation or invasive steps to be taken. Masjid side immediately said structure used as a mosque since the 1500s. Hindu side scientific survey will not affect the structure at all. But the counter is, what is the tearing hurry for a survey? Now let's tell you what the Varanasi court order said. Probe the age and nature of the western wall. It also said radar study below the 3 domes at the site. It said radar study beneath of all the cellars. Prepare a list of all the artifacts in the complex. Dating exercise of age and nature of artifacts. Dating study on all pillars to be undertaken. But the order, and I have a copy, I'm just going to take a pause and I'm going to get this out here. And the order also says conduct excavation if required. Everywhere it says conduct excavation only if required. It doesn't say that you have to conduct the excavation. Let me just quickly show you here. On all the 12 or 13 points of the order, the court, the Varanasi court, in its order dated the 21st of July 2023, says conduct excavation if required. Conduct excavation if required. It doesn't say that excavation is mandatory, it just says conduct excavation if required. I have other documents too to say why the excavation was ordered by the court in the first place, and all of this has been submitted in court. Now, if the ASI conducts a scientific survey, let's tell you what it implies and how it will help this entire case. It's a big step towards resolution of centuries-old dispute. The scientific study will be on whether or not there is any Hindu character of the site at all. Also, the study may provide scientific backing to arguments that have been made by either side. And the ASI findings will become part of evidence in this entire case. And the study whether Aurangzeb raised a temple to build the mosque or partly raised a temple and built a structure above an existing structure. That will be proven, and it may decide if Places of Worship Act 1991 actually applies to this case or not. Now here's what the videography survey report submitted to the court by Ajay Mishra and team back in May 2022 found. A shivling-like structure in the Wazukhana, but the Wazukhana area is not a purview of the Shringar Gauri case. Remains of crimson-coloured idols were seen. Images of deities, swastika and bells were found. Flowery kalash or urns and trishul were found. Lotus symbol was found engraved on stones. 4 remnants of the Aishwarya Mandap were also seen. All of this is chronicled, and I have that order copy also with me. This is the survey report, ladies and gentlemen, and the survey report in my hand is dated 7th of May 2022, 19th of May 2022. That's what this order copy is dated. And the commission karwai dates of 14th May, 15th May and 16th May 2022. And these are the observations vis-a-vis the Shringar Gauri case. Shringar Gauri case. Vis-a-vis the Shringar Gauri case, these are the observations that have been made about the Paschim wall, about the idols that have been seen, and the fact that there are pillars which look older and different from the structure above. More importantly, the mention of the domes is also there. That, ये देखिए, उत्तर दिशा में गुंबद के अंदर घुसकर देखा गया, जिसमें घुसने से कैसे के स्थान के दिशा दक्षिण पश्चिम में है, तो वहां अंदर दूसरी गुंबद की के 8.5 फीट नीचे शंकुकार, दैट मीन्स कोनिकल, शिखर नुमा आकृति मिली, जिसकी ऊंचाई 2.5 फुट तथा व्यास लगभग 18 फुट है. So 2.5 feet tall and 18 feet circumference was seen. This is part of that report, which is more than a year ago. Let's go straight across to Advocate Vishnu Jain, who's been arguing for the Hindu Paksh, and Waris Pathan, spokesperson of the AIMIM. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Waris Pathan, you are a lawyer. You know the legal side very well. Vishnu Jain has been fighting this case, and before him his father has been fighting this case. So there is a certain West in. जो आंखों से दिखा है वो वीडियो में कैद है, वो इस रिपोर्ट में है. एक बात मुझे ये बताइए, we'll get to that differently. As a lawyer, sir, you have time to approach the Supreme Court, but you don't have time to approach the High Court. क्या आर्गुमेंट है?
Well, Anand, the matter is sub judice. The Supreme Court has taken cognizance of the matter. They have posted it on the 26th till 5, and they have said the lower court's order is stayed and the status quo is to be maintained. The Anjuman committee, they moved the court. They have got a right powers, and the Supreme Court has directed them approach the Honorable High Court, and the Honorable High Court will listen to the arguments. But what we were saying since the beginning is that, and now what I say is that the BJP is trying to polarize the situation prior to the 2024 election. That is very, very clear, because they want to divert the mind of the nation from the basic issues of price rise, unemployment. Now Manipur is there. Modi does not want to answer on that in the parliament. That is why we see what is happening in the parliament. Now, what was the intention of the parliament enacting the Places of Worship Act 1991, Anand? Why do they want to take us to the era of 90s, when we saw Babri Masjid, how it was demolished, the black day in the democracy of the country? And this is what they want to do it now. We have been saying the Places of Worship Act 1919 was enacted with an intention, and the purpose of it was that prior to 15 August 1947, whatever the monuments are, mosque, whatever, they cannot change the structure and the nature and character of that place. So why do they want to have the survey? Earlier also they put the petition before the court asking for a carbon dating of the Shivling, which was not allowed by the court. In fact, the courts have allowed that the people to allowed to pray namaz, and also they have given direction to the district administration to make facilities for wuzu. So where does it stand? Now why do they just want to try and declare another communal flare-up in the country just by going for the ASI survey?
My point is,
what is their intention? What is their intention?
My point is, Waris Pathan,
ASI survey. Why do
who is going? Why should there be why should there be a communal? Why are you repeatedly saying communal flare-up, communal flare-up? कौन करेगा communal flare-up?
They are. ये लोग ही कर रहे हैं, because we saw during the Babri Masjid era. I
am asking you today, sir, who is doing a communal flare-up? Are you saying somebody does not have a right to go to court? You have the right to go to the Supreme Court.
Everybody has a right.
So if they go to a Supreme Court to make a valid argument, I am asking you, if you go to the Supreme Court to make a valid argument and I say, oh, you're pushing for a communal flare-up, you have a right to make an argument which you believe is valid. But that will cause communal flare-up. Communal flare-up argument आप क्यों दे रहे हैं बार-बार? Is it a threat? Is it
go for a survey?
Is it intimidation? What are you saying? Why are you saying communal flare-up?
Why do they want a survey? Why do they want a survey?
They have the right to ask for a, like just like you have the right to ask for a stay, sir.
I have a right to rebut.
Please, that's what I'm trying to say. You have the right to rebut. So don't they have the right to make an argument or a case or make a valid point? And they are saying do it scientifically. That's what they are saying. Why are you repeatedly, my question to you, Varis Pathan, why are you repeatedly saying communal flare-up? And the other question, sir, is coming back to the original question. Why did you sidestep this aspect? कि भाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आर्ग्यूमेंट करने के लिए आपके पास तैयार करने के लिए टाइम था, पर इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट मूव करने के लिए टाइम नहीं था.
So many of the anchors also who were arrested, they moved the Honorable Supreme Court in the midnight and they got released from the Supreme Court. There is we can move the Honorable Supreme Court. They moved, and senior advocate Ahmadi is a senior advocate.
Yeah.
He knows where to move and where not to. And the Supreme Court has said that okay,
Correct.
They did not say
But
why
sir,
you came before us. They said
but sir, I am asking you very. I do not know law, sir. I do not know law. I can only ask a question in my humble, limited common sense, which is also very uncommon these days. Is that, sir, you made the argument made in the Supreme Court was that I didn't have time to go to the High Court. But you had time to go to make the argument in the Supreme Court that I didn't have time to make the argument in the High Court. So, ये थोड़ा मुझे समझ में नहीं आया, sir, आप मुझे समझाइए. That's what I'm asking you. Okay, Vishnu Jain, let him come.
It is the prerogative of the Anjuman.
I understand, sir.
Prerogative of the Anjuman committee which moved the Supreme Court against the order passed by the Varanasi
Court.
Court.
Now let me ask.
Also knows that yes, they have a right to move. Their petition is not rejected.
No. So those who want to move the Supreme Court and not the High Court have the right to move the Supreme Court. But those who want a scientific solution to a centuries-old argument are going to push a communal flare-up. Okay, Vishnu Jain, please tell me.
1937.
Okay. Now, Varisji, please yield.
Anand, just 10 seconds.
Please, he's not spoken. No.
10 seconds and Vishnu will answer all to my arguments.
Okay.
Anand, in 1937, in Deen Mohammad's case, it is clearly stated after going through the documents and oral submissions made that this property is a waqf property. Now, once it is a waqf, always is a waqf. They all know the judgment is there on the net. Also, you can read it, Anand. I am not speaking on my own. So why do they want to now create a thing that this belongs to
Religious Character Places of Worship Act 1991? Argument placed in the Supreme Court today and Deen Mohammed case. All three, Vishnu Jain, respond.
See, let me just first give a little bit of insight on today's hearing. I must tell you that there was no matter which was listed of a Anjuman Intizamiya before the Supreme Court. What was listed in the mentioning list of the Supreme Court in item number 9 was an SLP which arises from the order of 31st of May of the Allahabad High Court, which in turn had upheld the order of the district judge by which it was held that places of worship act and birth act is not attracted in this case. Now, the fact of the matter is that an oral mentioning was done. And all this which you are reading in the order of the Supreme Court was all oral argument, no affidavit was filed. At 11:15, I was given a copy of some application right in front of Chief Justice Court, which was filed yesterday in the evening. And the due process which is there in the Supreme Court that if you are filing anything in a pending matter, you have to give a copy to the advocate on record of the other side. That was also violated. But be that as it may, my point is this. That in this case, first of all, as Varisji is saying, I must respond to this, that Places of Worship Act is not attracted. Rather, Places of Worship Act has been violated. Because the fact of the matter is that in November 1993, we were worshipping in the premises in question of Ma Shringar Gauri, invisible deities, Lord Hanuman, Lord Ganesh. We were worshipping in the Tehkhana of the cellar. And it is only when the Mulayam Singh Yadav, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh at that point of time, did this barricading and ousted us from possession of this property in violation of the act. So therefore, we have filed a suit before the Civil Court Varanasi saying that, look here, we were worshipping in the premises in question, so please allow us our rights to worship. Now we passed the test of 7-11 from two courts. The District Court Varanasi upheld it in our favor on 12th of September. The Allahabad High Court upheld it in our favor on 31st of May. The scientific survey of Shivlingam was also directed by the Allahabad High Court. The scientific survey has been directed by the Varanasi Court. Now the point is this, that when 7-11 has been decided and they have filed their written statement, what is the next procedure? The next procedure is, Varis Bhai, that they have to ask for an expert opinion. And the court in its wisdom has applied the powers of section 45, which you may know very nicely. Section 45 of the Indian Evidence Act, where the court has power to seek expert opinion. And this report of the ASI, which has been this commission of the ASI, which is a 30-member team, has been appointed by the court in exercise of its powers under Order 26 Rule 10A, and it was clearly mentioned in the Supreme Court. Second point I want to highlight. Now, the Anjuman Intizamiya made a wrong statement before the Supreme Court without filing any documents that there is excavation going to happen. They did not participate, I must tell you, they did not participate in the commission proceedings today. They boycotted the commission proceedings. But I don't know, they got a dream or some prophecy that excavation is going to happen, and on that basis a statement was made before the Supreme Court in oral mentioning, and it was also and the Supreme Court gave time to the Solicitor General of India to take instructions on that issue. At 11:15 the hearing again happened, and it was mentioned before the Supreme Court that excavation is not going to happen. We are doing measurement, mapping and various other exercises. Let them approach the High Court. But despite that, these orders are there. But be that as it may, the point in issue is this, that this is a temporary arrangement for 2 days. It has been mentioned in the order that there is no opinion on the merits of the case, and we will argue our matter before the Allahabad High Court, and we are hopeful that after 2 days, when the matter is argued and we present ourselves before the Allahabad High Court, again the survey will happen, and then again they will approach the Supreme Court with all the arguments. Because the fact of the matter, Anand, I want to say with greatest sense of responsibility today on your channel is that there are a lot of truths, a lot of secrets of Gyanvapi which are behind those sealed walls. There are a lot of secrets which are behind and inside the Gyanvapi complex within the barricading area. And the Anjuman Intizamiya knows very well that this mosque was not built by Aurangzeb on a plain or barren land, and this is a structure of a pre-existing Hindu temple. So they don't want any survey, because the moment ASI is doing this survey and ASI gives this opinion, then they will not be able to prove their case before the district court, before the trial court Varanasi. Therefore, this entire exercise is done. If you remember and recollect, when initially Advocate Commission survey was going to happen, there was a huge dissatisfaction amongst the Anjuman Intizamiya, saying that we will not let the survey happen for a very, very simple reason, Anand, that the Shivlingam was to be found. When we asked that let the Shivlingam or fountain theory be established through scientific method, who came to the Supreme Court? It was the Anjuman Intizamiya who went to the Supreme Court. And let me tell you the irony, Anand. When the matter came to the Supreme Court on 19th of May, it was the last working day of the Supreme Court. They deferred the orders of the High Court. The matter was listed on 11th of May and 11th of July. I'm sorry, the matter was listed on 11th of July. On that day, we had filed our counter affidavit. Anjuman Intizamiya took time of 4 weeks to file the rejoinder affidavit. And now the matter is listed on 29th August. So the moment you get a stay order, then there is no hurry. But when someone is saying that do the survey, then you have all the hurry in the world to approach the Supreme Court, High Court. So these are all delay tactics.
Let Varis
but
Pathan
one day truth will come out.
Let Varis Pathan respond. Yes.
Well, my learned friend Vishnu Jain just now said that the Anjuman Intizamiya committee did not go there today in the morning. Let me tell you, from the news which I am getting it from the media, the Anjuman Intizamiya committee has said that they did not get any notice from the ASI. And in the morning, around 25 to 30 people from the ASI side came there and they started their procedure. And they very well knew that the matter
yesterday evening there was a meeting.
Supreme Court.
Anjuman Intizamiya was present.
Please hear. Please hear what he's saying.
Allow me.
Sir,
I was listening.
I know Varis Pathan,
but I was listening very patiently to what you were saying.
I understand, but allow him this intervention.
Now today,
my request, using legal parlance, limited ones that I know, allow him a 30-second intervention and then you can continue.
I'm just correcting you on facts. Please cross-check, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me. Yesterday night, the members of Anjuman Intizamiya and their lawyers were present before the district administration, and they were duly informed that today in the morning from 7 a.m. this commission is going to start. They were there before the district administration, and they were duly informed.
No notice was given.
No notice was given.
Allow me.
Notice was given. They were present.
That matter is sub judice. Tomorrow the matter will be taken up before the Honorable Supreme Court.
Varis Pathan.
Please don't go on with the survey. Kindly wait. But nobody waited. In the morning they came there with their team and they started the survey. So I am asking Anand, what is the
Varis Pathan,
why are you in such a hurry to do this? When your carbon dating application was already rejected by the Honorable Court.
Varis Pathan, please, 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir.
It was not rejected.
Varis Pathan, 1 minute. Let's get a few. One second. Let's get a few things in clear. This matter does not relate. What we are discussing now does not relate to what the Muslim Paksh calls the Wazu Khana and the Hindu Paksh believes is a shivling of Adi Vishweshwar. This does not.
It's the other area.
This is the Shringar Gauri area, which is the western wall. And in this case, last evening, I'm just saying, Varis Pathan, the Anjum,
get survey done
sir,
for
sir, the Anjuman Intizam.
Yes, entire area is
They want to get it up. I'm just please hear me out, sir. Last evening, like you said, media reports are not reporting right. You are quoting the wrong reports. Last evening, sir, both sides were present and informed that today morning the survey will happen, and they had the notice. This is a confirmation. And you can get, you can please tell, let the Anjuman Intizamiya decide.
I quote the trustee. The trustee of the Anjuman has clearly stated so before the media, your media was present and I am not there. I was listening to what he said and it is before
Sir,
the media.
Sir, the trustee and the Anjuman Intizamiya lawyers were present at the meeting last evening and there is a minute of that meeting, sir. There is a minute and the district administration is witness.
Anand, the Supreme Court has taken cognizance of that. The Supreme Court has very well taken cognizance of that also and they have given a status quo to maintain. The Supreme Court is well aware about the fact that...
Do you know why the Supreme Court has said status quo?
Whatever excavation or whatever...
Have you read the order, sir?
That is why status quo is to be
No, sir. No, sir.
Status quo is to be maintained.
No. Why have they said that? Why have they...
The matter should...
Why have
5 p.m. on 26th of July.
Why have they said it, sir?
26th of July.
Why have they said it, sir?
Vishnu will correct us. He was present in the court.
Sir, why have they said it, sir?
Why have they said it?
Sir, this is what they have said.
Why to move the Honorable High Court and get an order from that? To
no, sir. I am reading the order copy from today.
The Honorable High Court and in the meantime, status quo.
Okay. I am just mentioning. Mentioning here. The Muslim Paksh said they didn't have time to move the Allahabad High Court. But I am asking you the same question. 4:30 p.m. order is passed. Last evening ASI meeting they are present. This morning they come to the Supreme Court but they don't move the High Court. In the meantime, sir, the Hindu Paksh has filed a caveat in the Allahabad High Court. They filed this caveat on Saturday. They filed a caveat in the Allahabad High Court saying if the Muslim Paksh does move the Allahabad High Court, please hear us before you pass a note. So the Hindu Paksh has the time to file a caveat in the Allahabad High Court, but the Muslim Paksh does not have the time to go to the Allahabad High Court. Sir, the other.
Anand, kindly read what does a caveat means. A caveat means that an ex-party order should not be passed unless we are heard in that. Vishnu Jain is there, he knows that.
Correct.
So he's right, he's passed a caveat.
So what
happens? Let us see. Why are you in a hurry? Let us wait till 26th of July.
You know my question, but you still don't want to give the answer.
There will be a stay on the survey. I am sure the Honorable High Court will intervene and there will be given a stay on the order passed by the lower court.
Okay, now let me ask you this, sir. If there is a dispute, one says it's a masjid, other one says it's a temple and it's a structure built over an existing temple. If the only way to prove it is scientifically, there is no excavation involved. It's just GPR, ground projection radar. If required, there will be excavation for that. You can say they have to come back to the court. This is also being done of a western wall. No, 1 minute. Sir, this is the western wall, Shringar Gauri Shrine, which after the Places of Worship Act 1991 came into place, worship went on till 1993. So the established status of that western wall and Shringar Gauri is that it is Hindu in character, but there Hindus are being stopped. अगर साल में 2 बार कर सकते हैं तो 365 दिन क्यों नहीं? So there are very straightforward questions I can ask without even having any 2 anna of knowledge of legalese. I am just asking you, Places of Worship Act argument you gave, 1991. The worship was happening till 1993. There is photographic, videographic and witness evidence. After 1991 till 1993 for 2 years worship happened on a regular basis. Then you have stopped. So whose rights are being curbed?
Kindly, Anand, if you just kindly read Places of Worship Act 1991, you will kindly come to know what does it mean. No character or structure of the place of worship can be changed.
Correct.
Or altered.
I agree, sir.
Because 15 August
I agree, you are
1947,
right.
So why you want to now?
I agree, you are right. After Places of Worship Act 1991, till 1993, there was worship going on. Because the religious character of that Sringar Gauri shrine is Hindu.
2 days. 2 days.
हाँ.
Only for, but then the High Court has also allowed Muslims to go and pray there.
Sir, so
and
why?
they have already directed the
अरे
district
आप एक बात
administration
बताओ,
to
आपको
see to
कभी मैं
ensure
कैसे,
that the
can I
Wazufana is
tell,
there.
should I tell you that आप मस्जिद में जाओ पर साल में 2 दिन ही जाओ नमाज अदा करने के लिए, या आप हिंदुओं को कह रहे हो कि आप मंदिर में जाओ लेकिन साल में सिर्फ 2 दिन. So what is the religious character of that place then? Sir, if you are telling somebody to go and do puja twice in a year, what is the religious character of that place? Are you trying to say that you are forming a rule that for 2 years 2 days in a year, the religious character of that wall is Hindu, for the rest of the 363 days, it is not Hindu? क्या कह रहे हैं सर आप?
No, but the Muslims were offering namaz there every day.
अरे सर, not at the western wall.
Namaz was going on, and as per the Muslim, they say it is as per the Hindus, they say that it is a shivling. As per the Muslim community,
the argument is not about the shivling at all. Vishnu Jain.
So what is
Vishnu Jain? I'm just asking.
It started. The arguments are.
No, sir. The argument is about the Sringar Gauri shrine today. The argument is about the Sringar Gauri shrine, the western wall, and what was noted in the surveyor's report that there is a conical structure. There is a conical structure under what looks like a gumbaz on the outside, and those walls look older. That is the argument. My question to you on, sir, आप जान के भी अनजान बन रहे हैं. This is the ability as a lawyer which I don't have as a common man. Vishnu Jain, so is there any rule, sir? Vishnu Jain, is there any rule, sir? Final word. I'm just asking you, Vishnu Jain. So after Places of Worship Act 1991, does that act anywhere, Vishnu Jain, say कि साल के 2 दिन आप मंदिर हिंदू है, बाकी sorry वो दीवार हिंदू है, बाकी 363 दिन नहीं है? Does the Places of Worship Act?
I just say that this entire exercise of conducting the survey was to ascertain that what is the religious character of the place in question. Suppose Varis Bhai is saying that this is a mosque, and I am saying that this is a temple. How will it be ascertained? Can it be ascertained by oral evidence, or can a party say that no, it will not be investigated, no, it will not be dwelled into?
Worship Act, which have the endorsement of the President of India.
Just I'm telling what is the
laws being passed in the Parliament.
Let me answer the question.
What are the uses of the laws being passed in the Parliament and shut down the Parliament? Why do you need
if you are so much grateful to the Parliament?
Now Varis Pathan is using the Varis Pathan is using the age-old skill that he has developed and perfected. That when you cannot convince, then totally derail.
But anyways, the fact of the matter is that this is an entire exercise to ascertain the religious character, and after the evidence is led by the Muslim side as well as by the Hindu side, then the court will say that look here, the religious character as per the evidence of this place is of a Hindu temple or is of a mosque. But before that ascertainment, Varis Bhai is saying कि भाई हम तो कोई ascertainment कराएंगे ही नहीं, हमने क्या दिया मस्जिद है तो है.
Sir, scientific survey has not been rejected. Scientific survey has not been rejected. Scientific survey includes one of the aspects is carbon dating, not any of the others. Ground projection radar is allowed. Ground projection radar is allowed. Videography is allowed. Testing of the walls and the age of the walls is allowed. And any residue, biological residue that is found like milk, flowers, prasad, which is present in the soil or around that structure, can be without damaging the structure extracted and also dated and tested. Sir, all of this is allowed. So, sir, आप जान के भी अनजान बन रहे हैं. But anyway, great debating with you. Always having always a pleasure having you on the show, Vishnu.